So, if you guys have been following us for a little while, what do we have over there?
I'm sorry, it was a birdie.
We had a bird.
It was a bird.
Try that again. All right. If you guys have been following us for a little bit now, you know that we are transitioning to becoming a Great Loop family sometime next year. And as part of that, we have a laundry list of things that we need to get done around our house before we are ready to sell it in the spring. Lindsay has been tracking that list and is going to go through that with you all while I kind of be quiet and share with you all some pictures and videos of the different areas of our house that we're talking about. So, my beautiful wife, oh, what do we got going on?
It's a long list.
It's not that long.
It sounds really long. It's okay. It's a long list. It's not an overly burdensome list. Most of these things will probably be able to get done over the course of a weekend or a few evenings in a week. So, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. I broke it down. So we'll start with the outside chores. Because we live in Michigan, we have a finite window.
A limited amount of time to get stuff done outside before the snow starts flying and things get more difficult.
Yeah. So outside, we have to finish painting the back garage, the one behind us. We started painting it a shade of green, and then I needed to go and get another can. And for some reason, when I got the can back, it was a different, slightly different shade of green. Enough that I can tell, and enough that it bothers me.
Despite giving them the right number and then having all the information and everything else.
Anyways, so there's just some touch-ups that have to be done. The whole front needs to be repainted because I went to do the bits in between the slats and realized it was a different color. So I'll just paint the front a slightly different shade of green and you won't be able to tell. It'll be fine. We have some flashing around the house that needs to be either reattached or replaced. We've had a few storms roll through that have done a number on it. So Jake will have to do that at some point. And I'm adding, while I think about it, because we're sitting here, that you need to get up there and do the gutters.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
And I need to check the roof.
Yeah, I mentioned doing the gutters a little bit ago, and I forgot to put it on the list. So,
yeah.
We also need to finish our back vegetable garden. We started this project a couple of years ago, and then last year, when I was pregnant, being the main gardener of the two of us, they got pretty unruly and left for dead because I had no energy. So we're finally finishing up the back garden, making the vegetable garden actually look nice and function, which will be good. So we've got to add some mulch to the pathways. We've got to finish filling the beds. And then once we fill the beds, we have a weed problem. Not the fun kind. When we moved in here, the gardens and everything were really overgrown. So there are some really nasty, tenacious weeds to deal with. So we're going to dig up all the perennials that we've got back there, plant them into the beds, and then lay down some landscaping weed blocker so that it kills off the really nauseous weeds that we've got that won't go away, and hopefully kills them off by the end of the summer with all the heat. And then we can replant the perennials in the fall back into the beds where they belong. So next year it should be a lot easier and look a lot nicer when it comes to selling the house, because right now it's a mess.
Hopefully. Mint is probably the worst one that we have. We have so much mint here.
I think most of that got taken out when we put the plastic down.
Did it?
In the vegetable garden pathways. But anyhow, the same was to be said for the front garden, but it is actually shaping up to look nicer than I had expected. So I think we'll just keep on top of the weeds that way and see how we do. Then we've got...
Is that all the outside stuff or not quite?
No.
Oh.
And then we've got the side garden. So beside our house is really shady, and there's kind of a weird privacy hedge over there. It's gotten really overgrown and unruly too, so we've got to cut that back because some of it's touching the house, and it's just really beaten up over there, so it just needs some love. We have to stain the fence, which we'll probably wait until the fall to do after things have died back and we can actually get to the fence behind all the plants. We've got an area by our fire pit that's become overgrown. a lot of it I think will just get chopped and dropped
Yeah.
because it's just necessary at this point. We've got to organize and empty both garages. Or not empty, but get rid of a lot. We've
We
got a lot of extra stuff that we haven't touched since we moved in here 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 4 years,
Three.
3 years ago.
So we
And
got to take care of that, and then the space beside our driveway and beside our back garage is really overrun again because it was neglected for years before we got the house.
and we haven't done anything
And
with
we
it really
haven't done
either.
anything. So that is what we've got to do outside. And then inside the house, we have some upstairs work and some basement work. Our basement, we completely ripped out past the studs. So we went all the way back to the foundation. My mom and dad came and stayed with us for a couple of months, gave us a huge hand, completely overhauling it. We redid the floor plan, made it actually function for us, added a legal bedroom.
We couldn't have done it without your folks' help.
No, no. When we first moved in, the basement bathroom and the laundry room were one room with really awful carpet. So we've separated those. We have a dedicated laundry room, dedicated bathroom. So really, we've added a bedroom. So we had a 2-bed. Technically, it was a 2-bath house. It really wasn't functionally two. It was more like 2.5 or 1.5 bath.
Yeah.
But so now we have 2-bed, 2-bath, or sorry, 3-bed, 2-bath house.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So in the basement, we've got to wrap one of our metal pole. We have a metal pole. It's like a supporting pole that we wanted to wrap. And then we've got quarter round to go along the bottom of the baseboards to finish off the flooring, make it look nice. The stairway wall has had some dings in it with furniture and stuff that go up and down, and the stair flooring being done. So that needs to be touched up and repainted. And then we have some decluttering to do in 2 of our storage rooms. And then lastly, we have to decide whether or not, or what we're doing to the computer room ceiling. So right now it's just painted black plywood, which works fine for us, but
It doesn't look terrible, but it could definitely be better.
It wasn't done as precisely as we could have done it.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it did the job to make it look nice. So nicer. So we just have to figure out what we're doing there. And then we have the upstairs stuff that needs to be done, which is a bit... Actually, we have some more deciding we have to do about things up there still. However...
Talking about like the kitchen?
Yeah, so but outside of the kitchen, we have to touch up trim work. We have 3 dogs. One of them is very large and clumsy. He's done a number on some of the baseboard boards and some of the trim around the door frames, and then also just moving furniture. We've done some dinging up and stuff, so it's just needing to be cleaned up and then repainted.
Mm-hmm.
We've got we have to touch up the bathroom ceiling. So there's no exhaust fan in our upstairs bathroom, which means the humidity has nowhere to go except a window that is great in the winter, not so great in the summer. Subsequently, after a mini remodel that I did in 2023, the paint that I redid on the ceiling is all peeling off. So I don't know if it was because it was an oil-based paint and then acrylic went on top of it, and then we added humidity. I don't know, but it all needs to be scraped off and dealt with, and then probably use a primer. Assume that underneath is oil, and we'll reprime and repaint. And then we have the kitchen. We bought new appliances and didn't measure properly, so we had to pull out a cupboard that was beside our fridge. So now we have a big empty spot with a big chunk out of the flooring that needs to be dealt with. And because we're going to add a cabinet back in there, we have to figure out what we're doing with the cabinet doors in the rest of the kitchen to make it look cohesive. So we have to figure out how we want to manage that. We'll probably replace the cabinet doors and then strip the paint and the stain or whatever off of the frames of the cabinets, because they're solid wood, so they're worth keeping.
They're heavy too.
Yeah, so we'll probably strip it all down and repaint that white or something, and then figure out what we're doing for cupboard doors. And then we're also probably going to be redoing the floors. They're laminate, and because we have a German Shepherd who leaks a lot when he drinks, the laminate
plays in the water.
Or plays in the water. The laminate is starting to peel up and doesn't look great. So it needs to be I mean, even just for like waterproofing sake,
Yeah,
we need to replace that, which means also replacing the dining room and potentially the living room. There's carpet in the living room right now, and the dogs have done a number on it with muddy paws. And then we've got the baby, and she's spat up on it already, which,
I was gonna say it's a milk-soaked mud carpet at this point.
it sounds worse than it is.
I say that sounds pretty gross, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've had Stanley Steamer come through a few times and actually properly clean it.
It's not actually that
It's not that bad, but going forward, I just don't think it makes sense to keep the carpet if we're already replacing the rest of the flooring.
No.
So we'll have to get that done too. That's it.
That is everything. So we are going to have to put together a list in which order we're going to do this stuff into.
Yeah, none of that was priority order, other than the outside. The outside, I think we kind of have an idea of how we want to do, what order we want to do things in, because it's weather dependent. And
some of that stuff we can get done in like after work one night or in a weekend,
Yeah.
or like the flashing is not going to take very long. I could probably get the gutters done
on an evening.
at least start at one section of the house and work my way around.
Yeah, and then we've got a couple of gardens that are just overrun with weeds that I just need to spend some time picking the weeds at, and that's just picking away at them.
And that means I need to take care of the little girl while she's doing garden stuff so that she has time to do it.
Our wonderful little angel has entered the 4-month sleep regression, and so the amount of time that I have to do things during naps is much less. So it's just going to be a matter of making it work, which we always do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start tackling the list one thing at a time and take you guys along for the ride.